I got post-traumatic stress, but they told me I got it different. I get a rush. So now when I shoot a gun, it's like, "Ugh," you know what I'm saying? I relieve all the stress, everything about me. I'm having a great time, you know what I'm saying? So it's all on the person and the gun and everything, you know?
Now, can trauma and stress be a good thing? Well, first and foremost, you got to ask yourself, what is stress? Now, stress usually gets a bad rap. Now, I would say stress is amoral. It's not good. It's not bad. It's perception and how does it aid in your productivity or hinder it. Now, there's eustress, which is more productive, meaning it adds onto your benefit. And there's eustress that takes away. So, for example, eustress is getting a new job promotion, more work, more responsibility, but more money. Now, distress could be losing your job or losing a loved one, but they also can be perceived depending on what the job was. If you lost it, it can lead you to your bigger goals. So that's what I want to get at first. But in this clip, I noticed that this guy was talking about how he had PTSD, which can go a lot of different ways. It gets used a lot, and I think it gets overused in some contexts, but it's usually associated with people who've gone to war, witnessed horrific events, or lived through like a national tragedy or natural disaster. Now, this is the typical use of it. But now I hear people say post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD when they have a bad breakup or they have a big fight with a parent and don't talk to them for years. And I can get why they might associate it, but is this being used too flippantly? Now, when the Black Rambo guy, he mentioned he gets a different type of PTSD. And I guess the therapist he's gone to said he gets more of a rush when these triggers, as they call them, things that signify what you went through and may remind you and take you back. But he gets a rush instead of faltering and being afraid, because usually people only think about the negative aspect of PTSD. But let's look at what PTSD can actually be from another standpoint, from a cognitive and even a neurological level. Because when we talk about how our memories play a role in fear, performance, and just a fight or flight response, it's our brain reminding us that something happened that transpired that is very significant, and it wants to remind us of protection. Now, that memory is saying, hey, last time this similar sound, similar smell, similar place, we were here or we were around this, something horrible happened. So that's to alert us. Now, the next step is our perception of it is falter and retreat into that mode again, which some people with PTS do. But I guess with the Black Rambo, he was saying the opposite happens. He gets more of a rush because some people call it post-traumatic growth. Now, this is not an actual diagnosis or some kind of clinical phenomenon, but it's just saying that how did you act after it that was more productive? Going back to that eustress distress, I think it's just taking on that eustress further, just like PTSD takes distress way further to extreme from a clinical side. I'm saying that PTG or post-traumatic growth takes us to that extreme side of the benefit. So we can say when we associate that negative occurrence, our long-term memory or the hippocampus, the region that stores these memories, says, hey, we can overcome this. We can be better this time. Because what happened last time, we faltered. It could have been the end of our lives, but hey, we made it. Let's keep going. And this is not saying that you can just easily snap your fingers again over any kind of trauma or stress, but it's saying that maybe there's another way to reframe your brain. And we actually do know this because you can do obviously the more typical route of saying therapy, such as CBT, the actual aspect of training your brain to have different thoughts and reframing how you look at things. You can do things that make you have to be more exposed to similar aspects of what caused the trauma. Or you can just overall rebuild your mindset and how you just think about things by doing things that put you in a lot more stressful situations and overcoming them repetitively, because our brain likes to go for that challenge. It gets extended. We almost get there. We extend it again, almost get there until we eventually succeed it. That's the best way for our brains to adapt and train and change to things that aren't the best fit for us. Now, going back to the Black Rambo's point, the reason I want to even cover that clip is because there is something there. So I think people as a whole, we can take initiative just like him and say, instead of going to the place where, hey, my brain's alerting me, this is a physical response to what we don't like or what we don't want to go through. Maybe, just maybe, I can look at that same place and put my mind to say, where can I reframe this? Now, if it's something extreme as a life-changing event, this is not an easy thing to do. So all means get the help you need. But if it's something on a sub-tier, what I call subclinical, so this means we're not talking about a diagnosis, but if you have some kind of stressor that is giving you a hard time, this is more for that, because now you can look at it as, how does this make me more productive? Is there a silver lining here? Maybe, maybe not. It might not be. It might be completely wrong. It doesn't help you at all, but you got to analyze that first, because when we talk about stress management, a lot of times the thing that we're stressing about is manageable, and it's usually not as stressful as we truly think. So that's the whole purpose of looking at this. It's not to say you have no fears, nothing to worry about. It's more so to say, how do we look at the stressor? How do we reframe the thought? And how can we get our minds right? So let me know in the comments what you think. Are you able to overcome what you're afraid of? Are your fears and stressors holding you back? Try your best to reframe them. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and have a great rest of your day.